Hey guys, JJ here, back for another Saturday Zoom networking. One of the biggest pleasures we have in networking are the people we meet, the relationships we make, and the people that become our friends. The young man that's speaking today, I've known him for, gosh, almost 5 years, and we met at our my first education group, and just kind of hit it off. We're both quiet, we're both conservative, we're both really low key, and and whatever. No, actually, Chris and I are both pretty much out there. Maybe that's why we hit it off. Our guest speaker is out of Pace Morby Sub 2 community. If you've been on the calls before, you've heard me talk about Pace Morby. He's the genius of creative finance for real estate in the country, which means the world. And Pace's Sub 2 community is unparalleled as currently the premier real estate education platform in the country. Our guest speaker is a great guy. He's father, husband, family man, real estate investor. Like all the rest of us, started as a student, and he just took the ball and friggin' ran with it. He's killing it. My good friend, Mr. Chris Podkowa. What's going on, Chris?
What's up, JJ? How we all doing here? Okay, so off steps, JJ. Now to the pod show. Okay, the true podcast right here.
Podcast, the Podfather of rock and roll. Hey,
Hey, I'm gonna be on another podcast here in a couple weeks too. So
there
Pod's
you
gonna be
go.
on another podcast. So
There you go. Hey, man, we met on the West Coast. You lived in Arizona for a while, and we actually met in California, one of the boot camps out here. But I was recently out in Atlanta end of last year, November 23, and you've now moved out to Georgia, and we got to connect again on the other side of the country. How cool is that?
that was awesome. It was great to see you. Especially on the East Coast when we normally would meet up there on the West Coast, either Arizona or California. So it was great to meet you up over here.
Yeah, it's just always, guys, real estate's about relationships. It's about surrounding yourself with successful people, but more importantly, developing lifelong relationships, friendships with people that just bring unbelievable value. And I say it all the time, don't chase the deal, chase the relationship. Don't look for what people can do for you, but look to surround yourself with people of, heart, integrity, and character. That's what's most important. And then from there, you just put the rest of it together. So, Pod, let me just ask. I kind of have already hit on this. For those who don't know you, where in the country are you located?
I am over in Georgia right now. Good old Atlanta, Georgia. Born and raised in Arizona, my whole life. So the last 2 years, just moved out here to Georgia. Thank goodness. No more 117, 120-degree summers. So it's nice to be over here. I can feel the humidity, but definitely not nowhere as bad as Arizona was. So it's good to be over here.
Yeah, I don't know what I'd do if I ever had to leave Southern California. I'm so used to this constant 73-degree temperature out here. Uh,
Right.
Kind of hard. Hey man, let's get into real estate a little bit. We all start a different way, different path, a different time. Um, I say it all the time. We're driving when we're 16, we're voting when we're 18, we're able to buy an alcoholic beverage when we're 21. For you, what were you doing in those years, those developmental years of teens in the 20s? Was real estate on the landscape for you? If it wasn't at all, what were you doing? I mean, trying to see the commonality, similarities you might have with people on the call. What were you doing from your teens and your 20s? Was it school? Was it military? Or what was your thing?
No college, no nothing, just straight up partying from beginning of high school on, doing a lot of things, having a lot of fun. Um, I knew people that actually had homes at that time too. Some of my friends as I got into the 20s and stuff. And it was just like, man, like I don't want a house because the responsibilities. Like, nah, I'll just rent and do whatever, and just have fun, live my life. Well, then, things change and, you grow up, you
Get
get a
married.
DUI, got to, grow up, get married, have kids, do all that stuff, do all the fun stuff. You didn't get into trouble, like you ain't living life. So let's do it.
So, at what point, I mean, when did you get into real estate? Did you get into real estate? before you're married, after you're married? What were you doing before that? What was your career before real estate?
Well, so essentially once I calmed down from the partying and all that good stuff, I went into truck driving, dude. Like I went in good old truck driving, 18 wheelers, those big old big rigs cruising down the highway. Yeah, that was me. I did that for a couple years. Then I drove locally, and but it was funny because I actually met my wife while on the road, on the internet, on one of those dating sites, hit it off. And, from then on, it was, 6 months later, we got married, and here we are going on 17 years now. Wow, it's been that long. And so then I did that. Then I went into college, went into sharpen up my skills as a automotive technician then, and really sharpened that up and everything. And I figured that that's what I was going to be doing. And again, still never really thought about real estate. My wife's family in the Philippines, they've got properties itself, and they know how to do that. I'm like, okay, great, whatever, cool. I've got some cool things going on. Then we get going a little bit further. I have kids again at 41. Yeah, 41. Wow. 41. I got twin girls. Twin girls. Okay. But hence the podfather. And so at that time, I was working, the wife was working, and dude, twins is breaking the pocket. So from that point, it was like, I'll stay home with the kids because she was working. She had a federal job, so obviously benefits are way better there. So it was like, cool, I'll go ahead and stay home. At that time, like we were both making the same amount of money, but if I stayed working, I'd only be making like $200 a week after paying for all the daycare. Two is not cheap. He's just not, buy one get one half price type thing. It is full blown, 100% both sides.
So, Chris, let me ask you,
So
how old are you at this time when you're in this
41.
41? And so that was kind of what led you into real estate right about that time?
That was when I went full time.
No.
And 2016 is when we got our first rentals. But we were doing that by ourselves with our own money, through taxes, saving up all that stuff. And we got our first rentals through there. So it was just that. At this time, I didn't know anything about, creative financing, Burr method, wholesaling or anything like that.
Yeah,
Come,
let me ask you. I mean, there's all these wholesaling and Burr method, but I mean, how were you introduced? Were you looking on the internet? Was it Bigger Pockets? Were you going to Google? I mean, we met through an education program called Forge.
right.
They used to be around a while ago. I'm not sure they still are, but that's how we met. What took you into that forum the Real Estate Education Forum?
Well, since I was going to be staying at home, be a stay-at-home dad with the girls, I still needed to do something. So I was looking, just something, part-time, something that I could do. And then I kept seeing all these real estate ads, learn how to invest in real estate, this and that. Went to a 2 hour little seminar thing, then went to a 3 day, and then we went in full bore head on and jumped into Fortune Builders, which is where you and I had met. And at that point, that's where, my career in the real estate had then taken off, had started. And from there, like it's been nonstop now. So since that point, I've been stay-at-home dad, and I get to do a lot of good things now. And so then with that, my very first flip I did just like my back in the partying days, double fisted, but I got babies this time, not beers. I got double fisted little babies itself. Walking through properties, right? Getting with realtors, making calls, doing everything that I can. Not wholesaling at that time, because at that time wholesaling wasn't attractive to me. I'm used to having my hands on things, doing things, working on cars, things like that. So I was like, fiction flips, get me close enough to doing that. Dude, walking properties, walking projects and stuff like that with my kids going on. Dude, that and being a stay-at-home dad, crying babies and everything, dude. Like it's tough. But you know what? I did it, and I've been doing it. And now it only gets easier because now they're out of diapers or, they're in school now. So I take them to school. I wake up, take them to school, come back home, do my thing now, make calls, talk to sellers, help people close deals, structure, systems and stuff like that. And, then go back, pick them up, spend, some more hours with them and stuff. And like, that's my freedom. So without my kids being born, I probably wouldn't be here doing this. So I always look at it as like my kids and my family got me here.
That's so cool. Um, I want to touch on something before we get into your topic. Your topic today is systems. What are they and why you need them? But we've got to know one another. We've become friends. And to me, that's so important. And I know I usually touch on this later in the end of the call, but networking, relationships, friendships. I mean, how important is that for investors as we're moving forward?
Oh, definitely. Definitely very important because you never know what you're going to do. Like I don't look people up by name because I have so many people and I've met so many people. Your people are put in my phone and my contacts based upon what is unique about them. Whether or not, JJ the connector. Okay, JJ the connector, I could reach out to him. Hey, dude, money guys, lender guys, hard money guys, who's doing this, transaction people, like he knows all that. So when I need somebody more specific like that, I can reach out to him. If I need people that do TC work, like that's how I particularly know them. Then once I see their name, that's how I remember them. It's like, oh, that's who that was. That's right. But I'm looking up transaction coordinator in my phone to see who that is, who those people are. So yeah, definitely your connections are the most powerful thing out there. You make one post and all those people that that know you make a post about asking for something, like you get so many more questions or responses back about it.
Yeah,
And that's what actually helps you and drives you through this because you can't do this on your own.
yeah.
100% can't do this. I did one deal start to finish on my own. Dude, never again.
You know
Never
what?
again.
I want to kind of jump from there. Obviously, people are very important in our relationships, our network. Your network is your net worth. It's one of the things we hear all the time. But one of the things that I believe our first group didn't really stress to us is something that we've both kind of learned out of Pace More, you said, to community. And again, your topic today are systems. People, it's really important that we have people, we have relationships, but um, I've really learned so much more being in Sub 2, the importance of systems. Can you touch on that? Because I remember when, you know, I followed you into Sub 2 and a couple other people I followed into Sub 2. And right when you made that jump, all of a sudden you were just all over the systems thing. For people that are on the call now, they're maybe new investors, maybe they're watching on YouTube weeks or months down the line. What are systems and what are they and why are they important for real estate?
Absolutely. Think about this. What do you do when you first wake up? The alarm goes off, you hit the snooze button once, twice, whatever it is. You get up, you take a shower, get dressed, get the kids up, get them fed, get them ready for school, load them up, take off, go to school, go to school, go drop them off, right? That's a routine. That's a system that you have. And then when you go through to change things up, that you get them dressed first and then feed them, that's a change in the system. Does that work better than feeding them first and then getting them dressed? Who knows? Like that's where your trial and error of your system, of your process is that judge. So we all actually do that. Now, what happens with the systems and stuff in business is like what we're all doing. We're all here starting doing our own business. Without a process, too many people get lost because they don't have a process or a systematic approach to things. And if you don't have that, then you're just all over the place. And it's really hard then to focus on what it is that you really need to do if you don't have a process. So just like when you wake up, if you imagine how bad your day would be if you had to wake up, couldn't take your shower and take your morning dump, but you had to go wake up the kids, get them dressed for school and everything, go do all that, and then come back and try to do what you got to do, take your shower, and dude, like you're thrown out of whack, like your day's pretty much off. Well, then in turn, you don't know what you really got to do because now you're just kind of still standing there like, okay, now what do I got to do? Because you are out of whack. You're out of track. You're out of your process. So just like in business, you have to have that going on too. And that's why it is very important to have that.
A lot of education groups. We've been two different ones, if not three or four between the two of us. A lot of them have different types of education systems, videos, curriculum to learn, and you know, outline or structure of certain type of processes. Did you use a lot of those? Do you use them still today? Have you taken some and modified them? And what do you use systems for? Or what do you think any investor should be using systems for the most part? Everything, acquisition, disposition. Obviously, transaction coordinators handle the paperwork and it's following procedures. But again, how have these come about for you? Have they been acquired and tweaked, or have you developed some of them on your own? What's your take on that?
Great. You have to be open. Like I will see, I got my process, JJ's got his, Rob's got his, Graham's got his and everything. I will sit there and look at all those processes because even though mine does work, what I see from JJ might I might be able to take that little bit and implement in my process to streamline it a little bit more. Or it might be another piece of information, another key piece that could also make it go faster, that could also streamline it more. So if you're using regular rivets, and it's got a dome shape, but then, you find out these new ones that are completely flat, well, you reduce drag on it creates a smooth surface instead of just creating that bump there. So then it helps to streamline that whole business, give you that cleaner look. And so with that, you always have to tweak your systems and your processes. Something little. It could be something little. I come from a mechanic background. So I'm always looking for a faster way, a faster process to change out a radiator on a particular vehicle. Let's say it takes 2 hours. It charges 2 hours. I'm supposed to charge somebody 2 hours. But if I have streamlined that process to be able to know exactly what I have to take off, what I don't have to take off, and how I can shortcut that and still do it legit and correct, well, that there would be better. If I can go from 2 hours down to 1 hour, that there would be a lot better for me. And yet I'm still getting paid 2 hours worth of work in an hour's time. That's, streamlining your process. If you could do that, why not? And that's why, systems are very important.
Chris, my background is in corporate administration. I spent years in aerospace, and they've got a procedure for friggin' everything. I guess in real estate, there are some basic tasks that are always going to be somewhat the same, but of course there's always, variety. We're dealing with buyers, we're dealing with sellers, we're dealing with people that aren't always predictable. Um, how does that impact your procedures or your systems?
They're always helping to improve
Yeah.
because it's, even though you see something different and it could still be the same, it's still different, but like, how is it? Okay. I love doing car analogies because they just kind of work. Okay. And what I mean by that is, okay, uh, you know, you got a Chevy Impala, and then you have a Honda Accord. They do the same thing. They're the same functionality, 100%. The engines all function, 100% the same. The purpose of those vehicles are this one of the same. They're both cars. They're both meant to carry passengers, and they're both meant to be comfortable. Now, What features does one have that the other one doesn't that you prefer? Okay. Now that's again your systems. Do you want it a nice, smooth, streamlined system? Do you care about it being a little rough? That's fine. Everyone to each your own. Now, how I know that, okay, is because for the time, since I've been in here, probably about the last 4 years, I've been doing systems and working on systems, and like people just been asking me to build out their system. I've done a lot of them. And so I've seen a lot of the processes of the way that people want something to be done and how different they all are. But the concept is still the same. It's still a vehicle to go from point A to point B. One's a Honda, one's a Chevy, you know. So they're all the same but different. There's still those special features. That's what is pretty much strikes it up to be different. So now for the last 4 years, me building out systems, and just to this last year has gotten me into actually, develop my own here. And the value that I bring with that is like it's 90% complete. Like I'm trying to help people to, hey, here's a process already going. Here's a car for you to go and go make get there. You already know how to drive. Here's the vehicle to get you there. Instead of you having to, fix it up, put the work into it, learn how to drive and learn how to turn wrenches and all that stuff to build that vehicle to go. No, this is already there. And
Cool.
so I've actually started doing that for this year to help fellow investors streamline that startup process.
Systems. What are systems? How do we implement them? There's a phrase that keeps coming up that I didn't hear in the beginning. I guess I kind of did, but the phrase is CRM. And tell me really quick what is CRM is, and doesn't this involve systems?
Customer relations management, CRM. It is a system. It is part of your whole system. Okay. Now there's many of ways that you can go through and do this, such as having an Excel spreadsheet, piece of paper and pencil, or you can have something more elaborate that has functions, that has a lot more array of functions of automations and follow-ups and tasks and stuff like that that you can actually put into play. Now, the system itself is imperative because you have to have a system of how you're keeping track of your leads, how you keeping track of those potential clients, how you keeping track of those customers, how you keeping track of those sellers, how you keeping track of those buyers. What are you doing? If
And
you've got
that's
just a
what
piece of
CRM,
paper,
right?
it's still the same thing. Yeah.
That's what the
And
CRM.
that there's where your customer relationship management software comes into play.
Cool. We'll get back into that, talking about the CRM and how important that is, and how systems how that's intertwined. But I want to pull in a couple questions right quick here. Graham Norris, you are on with Pod. Chris Podkowa, what's your question?
Hey Chris, hey JJ. Yeah, I've been around a long time, and there's many systems, and I think I struggle between two things: keeping things simple, a good return on investment and time, and it's easy to make things too complicated. And today, of course, we've got AI looming, and so. How do you go about planning for the right system for you? Because costs can run too quick, so you don't get the good return on investment. Could quickly become too complicated and not scalable, and then you revert back to the simplest things, and then you lose a lot of business because it is too simple and not enough trackable accountability, keeping up with KPIs and such like. It just seems so complicated. So it's almost like you need a consultant to figure out what the right system is. Is that kind of what you do? Have you got like a questionnaire, or do you interview people to find out what the right system is for them? I mean, I'm just, have to say, confused with the whole process. Yeah.
Hey, don't worry, Graham. You are just like everybody else. Because in this business, if somebody's using this system A, for their processes in their system, and everybody says, "Hey, what are you using?" They say, "Hey, I'm using this." People go out and they just go get that. Perfect example. Pace says he uses this. Everyone goes out, go gets that. All right. But then they don't understand what it is that they need, what they need today, or what they need tomorrow, because they're just lost in that. Imagine you just needing a car and you go out and you go buy a Lamborghini right now. Well, you went out and jumped the gun and did that, and then before you even found out what you need the vehicle for. So let's say you need that vehicle to pull, heavy trailers and stuff like that. So would that be the right choice for you? No. But then you're sitting there trying to figure out, how to utilize it, how to work it, how to use it, within your life, and it's not the one that's for you. So like it's very hard for me to sit there and say what is good for you and what's not. I can give you advice just from all the different systems that I have used and that I have touched on throughout the time. Now, I will tell you this though. Industry standards is about 4 to 5 months before a business, a company can fully understand the capabilities of a system and if it's going to be beneficial for them. So
Wow.
now if you look at it like that, that's 4 to 5 months that somebody said, oh, I use this system. Everybody goes out to go get that. And then they're sitting there struggling to put that together because, again, now they have to figure out the automations, the workflows. How does it work? What does this do? What does that do? How come mine isn't like yours? How come mine isn't like yours? I want mine to do that, right? That's everyone just getting lost in that whole sauce there too, which in turn is why I found that through my processes and everything, I wanted to bring that to the forefront for people. I wanted to, like I really didn't want to develop my own system. And I said that if I did that, like I fought it, like really, like my wife was telling me, you should do it, you should do it. I'm like, no, no, no. But so I did. The whole thing was that I was going to do it my way. I wanted to help people fast track the process of starting up because they do get these systems, just like you were saying, like, well, what do I do? Which one do I need? How do I do this? This and that. So a lot of times we are forced to, a lot of times as newer investors, key takeaway here, you don't have to do this by yourself. Leverage other people. Okay.
Chris, I want to ask you that same thing as you're answering Graham's question. There's so many systems out, how do we know there's things that are tweaking? Is this a matter of, as we network and build relationships and meet other people, we find people that are doing things similar to us? Like say we're rehabbing or say we're doing single family, we might want to use a CRM that's going to be different than people that are doing apartment complexes or, multifamily. So is it in looking for the right CRM for us? Is it a matter of finding people, instead of going out and just looking and grabbing one, oh, this doesn't fit. Is it beneficial to as we network to find people that are doing what we're doing, maybe ask them what they're using?
Yes, 100%. Because Graham, if you're doing just gator lending, great. You wouldn't need something that's out there, that's meant to market to everybody to, generate leads. You're a lender. You want something where you can reach out to people where they want you. Okay. Again, now that there's just like what JJ was saying, is you have to understand what you want, what you need, and what you're doing. So if you're a fiction flipper or you're a gator lender, you're not going to go to a fiction flipper and try to figure out what type of systems that they're using. If you're doing gator and you're not going to go out to a wholesaler to try to figure that out either, because they're doing something else. They're out there generating leads. You would want something if that's what you're focused on is being the gator. You want to, have a system where you can have people reaching to you, but where you can keep track of those leads of what's going on because you want to see these deals, right? Hey, sure, send me your deals. I'm a lender. Let me see what you have. I want them to send me that information so I can see what kind of deal it is. And now you're running your own numbers to see if it's going to be secure for you, if it's even a deal that you want to work on. So would you get the same software and system that a fiction flipper has? No. But again, that's where you got to come into play and understand who you are, what you're doing and what you're trying to accomplish.
Cynthia, where you are on with Chris, the Podkowa. What's your question?
Hey, Chris, it's good seeing you.
Hey, Cynthia, how you doing?
Yeah. Remember we used to be on here every Saturday. Can't wait to see what the subject was going to be. It's good
Yep,
seeing you. But
absolutely.
last time I talked to you, you were sharing to me um like a developed team that you was involved in with different systems, right? And so what you've created right now, what my question is what functional pieces of your system is, can you tell us about marketing? You know, I remember you was telling me you had acquisition, there was people assigned to acquisition leads, lead finding, acquisition, closing. I remember, and that was just last year, I think. So
Right.
tell me a little bit about what you've created.
So this is essentially, well, to really answer that, I have been, working the back end of different teams. Okay. And through
What
that
you mean by
process
that?
too,
What you mean by back end? Are you mean at the closing escrow? What do you
no,
mean?
the back end of what Graham would be talking about, needing somebody to handle the system, to understand and run that system. So that's what I would do. I do that for, several teams. And so I manage for the workflows, the automations, the functionalities, the shortcutting of the processes. So essentially you wouldn't have to do that. Now, by me doing that, that there also helps me to develop my system more, because now, again, JJ's process is different than your process and different than George's and different than Rashawn's, right? Everybody's system is processes are slightly different. But the whole point is, just like the cars, we all need a car to go somewhere. Which one do you like? Which one works best for you? So with that, you know, this developed where if you are doing just acquisitions, you can do that. If you're doing it yourself, you could do it too. If you're, generating leads, you can do that as well. If you're doing TC work, you can do that. You're doing dispositions, you can do that too. And that's where I've kind of gone through to make it make the system, streamlinable, that here you are, here's a vehicle for you. Here's a Toyota Corolla, right? May not be the fancy one, but it's a Toyota Corolla that does the job, just like the vehicle that you need to go from point A to point B. But here you go. It's the vehicle that works all the way around.
Chris, I got a question tied into Cynthia's question. Yeah, she was asking about marketing, and I realized that as we get going and growing with our business takes different steps, different levels, and our needs in the beginning may not meet the needs as we move down the road. Um, do most CRMs adapt for our growth, or do we outgrow them and have to get another one? And I'm talking particularly about Cynthia's question about marketing, that as we're going, we want to get into marketing and we may jump into a CRM that maybe suffices our need. But as her needs might grow, as her business grows, do most of the time CRMs, I mean, someone's actually, writing programs and writing things out for whatever we happen to be doing, but how quickly can those change? And I'll go back to Cynthia. Cynthia,
Yeah.
you want to jump in on that?
Okay, so you know,
So like
I'm a
marketing,
visual, I'm a visual learner.
okay.
And so I would like to see like visually, like in a circle, I would like, or a square, I would like to see these pieces, because I'm thinking that the system has different functions over here, like because you got to go, our our real estate investment space have a goal, whether you wholesaling, whether you're buying for Airbnb, whether you're buying for short term rental, it's a goal. So it starts over here with marketing. finding a
Right.
lead, and poo, 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 till you get over here to your goal. I would like to see visually the system, opposed to just saying,
Yeah.
I operate the system.
I could do that.
Yeah, I
I
know
could
you
show
could.
you
You was
a
the man.
system,
You was the pod
right?
man. Mm-hmm.
I could, the thing is that I can show you that. We all three of us here could be doing wholesaling. All three of us are going to be going through different channels, different processes of running that. So I might be doing online ads. JJ might be doing text marketing. You might be doing emailing or direct
Valid.
mail.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Ooh.
So, but that whole process is one, we need to gather those, market, yes. And again, you can either find a system that actually has that all in there as well. So you can just keep everything in one spot, or you can go out and go get several different systems that can actually tie together. Now, what's the difference? Well, generally, the more all-in-ones and more inclusive are usually cheaper. And yet at the same time, if you go with all the individual ones, that's going to be a lot more expensive.
Mm-hmm.
So I look at it as, the cost of my, my value of cost. If a single text costs 1 penny in this system and it can do so much, and I go over here and it costs eight pennies a text, well, I look at it as like I can reach 8 people on this one side, versus this one that costs 8 cents per text, right? So what's your wallet look like? Do you have that ability, that luxury to spend on that? Or are you like me that doesn't really care about the other bells and whistles and would rather go with the penny cost? So now again, it comes back into that whole marketing. What are you doing? I'm doing online. You're doing door to door and direct mail. JJ's doing text marketing, right? So all our ads are going to cost different. The whole thing is we need to, one, get leads to come in, and then we need a process to go through and filter them, which is why we have our acquisitions departments and managers to go through and filter those. And then we got our closers, and then we got our TCs to put it under contract, and then we got our dispositions.
Mm.
Now, like I said, every one of our teams are going to operate differently. Just like the same thing with every restaurant. They're doing the same thing. You can go into any, 5 different restaurants. They're all going to have a cook area. They're all going to have a dishwashing area. They're all going to have waiters and waitresses and hostesses and all that stuff too. So they're all going to have that. What process works better for you? What are you trying to accomplish? Are you cooking steak, or are you cooking salad, or what have you? Are you just making quick burgers, right? That whole process, depending upon what you're doing, will be different. So it is hard to say. Again, you got to know what it is that you're going for, what you're looking for, and then at the same time, you got to have a good systems operator and a good visionary person. And this is why I say don't go about this by yourself, because it is too much. Especially me doing just systems on the system side is a lot. But I will tell you a little bit later how it is that I actually structure myself into deals.
Cynthia, does that answer your question?
Yeah, yeah,
I mean, I can see there's a little bit more. I think what we're seeing is it's probably it's much more detailed, I think, and there's
yeah.
so many different options. It's not so
I'm a bit,
Yeah, you got to
yeah,
know
and I'm
your
a
wants and
visual.
your needs.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm a visual learner, and
I'm,
so
I'm
I'm using my imagination, and
Right.
that's not always the best.
yeah.
But
Cynthia, thank
yeah,
you so
it's
much.
again, you got to know your wants and your needs for what you're doing.
Yeah,
Cynthia, thank you so much. Good to see you.
thank you,
Yeah,
thank
same.
you.
So Chris, when I got into step two, Pace talked about you need an accountability, not accountability man. You need an acquisitions manager and a dispo manager and transaction coordinator and an integrator, and then a visionary. So the systems falls under the category of the integrator. Is that correct?
Yes.
Doing what's referred to as the back end and the computer aspect and the engineering
Yep.
aspect. So yes, I wanted to clarify that for people that are on the call today. And obviously, you know, there are different types of systems, but each system can be tweaked to the needs and the desires of any particular investor, any particular project.
Yeah.
So,
And it also depends on the quantity of work that you're doing too, the volume.
Mark Presswood, you're on with Chris the Podkowa. What's your question?
What's going on, guys? Hey, thank you, thank you, thank you. You know, these pipelines to develop and nurture people in these pipelines, that's where our team is struggling, I believe, is the workflows and stuff like that. It's probably a higher level question, but it's got my ass beat for for a minute, you know. That's the thing. Can you buy those? You just transfer them in there. If you can enlighten me a little bit on that, that would be awesome.
Really, it depends on the system. Many systems, as long as it's the same system, you can transfer it over. If we're all using Salesforce, you're using Salesforce differently than what I would. If we're all using Podio, you're using it differently than what I would. Your processes of what you're going through. That's where it is good to have an integrator, because like I said, what I actually do is I actually work on several teams where I am their back-end developer, where this visionary comes to me and says, hey, I need a form to collect this information. Well, then what do? I then go through and I start interviewing them. What do you need this for? What are you getting from it? What are you trying to do here? What are you trying to accomplish? Right? Because personally, me, I'm for all you older folks, us older folks, all you youngsters, you probably don't know this, but I want my systems like Ronco. Set it and forget it. That's how I look at it. Okay. I want to make sure that I set it and I don't have to worry about it. It just runs on autopilot. So when something happens, it comes in, right? It comes in, it does its thing. And now, I mean, I can get into some very elaborate things as well. One of the more ones would be where lead comes in, gets assigned to JJ. JJ's got 6 hours to make something happen, whether it be a call or a text or whatever that trigger is that I deem that needs to happen. And then afterwards, if that doesn't happen in that 6 hours, it's going to go on to Mark Presswood. And then after he's got 6 hours, right? He's going to get notified. He's got to get the notifications, this and that, the task reminders, and then move on after that. If he doesn't do something, then it moves on to the next one. But again, that is all on the backside that again, Ronco it. I'm kind of coining that now as I Ronco it, just set it and forget it, man. Like, I want those things to happen. But yet again, that way, one team wants those leads to just come in for that one person. Another team wants those leads to come in, give it a wait time, and just keep cycling through all those people. So it does vary. The thing with the automations and the workflows and building all that stuff out is, again, understanding your system. So if you don't understand the system and the capabilities of what it can do, you're still going to be lost. You could sit there and take, a system and say, hey, I want it to do this, this, and this. Okay, well, you can, but you got to get this, this, and this system too. Or you can get this system over here and you can do all that in that one system. Again, it depends on what you want to have happen, how you want it to happen, and what that looks like. So again, that's why I go through and I have those interview processes with people.
Chris, is it possible that, and I know that Mark's question happened to be dealing more, I don't know if more is the right statement, but with the people aspect. But with any CRM, is it just a matter of, especially in the beginning, constantly tweaking till it works for you?
Yeah, you definitely want, you got to understand, again, what you are. You can't just come and go, I'm a real estate investor. That's what we're all doing.
Yeah.
What's your forte? What's your take on it? What are you doing? You love talking to people. Okay, great. Then that's you doing the cold calling. Do you not want to talk to people, but you're good with computers and systems and processes? Okay, that'll be good for you. But guess what? Even somebody that's very good with Excel that can, do whatever with it doesn't necessarily mean that they're a good integrator, because even then with an integrator, you have to understand the process of how that's supposed to work, what that flow is supposed to look like. Okay. It's like if you're a master fabricator, in welding, and you can just do all kinds of cool things. Have you done anything that's valuable to me? No. Well, then it's not valuable to me, and I don't. Then no offense, but then I don't really care.
Mark, does that kind of answer your question?
Yeah, I mean, it's yeah, I think it. I like the Ronco set and forget it. That's the whole purpose of the system
Yeah.
in the end, anyways, right?
Yeah.
Right.
It's like an assembly line like Henry Ford. So I mean, that's what we're trying to do is build a conveyor belt. But no, I appreciate you, the Podfather.
Now, thank you. Now, I will tell you this though, Mark. It did take me, people ask me how long it took me to put this together. Well, in reality, a couple of months. But how I got to my processes and everything took me years.
Right.
Okay.
It's
So
not an
it's not
overnight thing, right?
right. It's not an overnight thing, dude. Like it sucks to be me because I'll get back into the system and I'm tweaking, I'm making changes to something else, just because something comes up and it's like, hey, this here would be easier if it went from instead of here to there. Why don't I just go down there?
And then it breaks, right? And then you got to fix more stuff.
You gotta do it all over again.
No, not necessarily. It just sucks for me because like I get in there and I see the image and it's just like, oh, I wanted to do that, and that, and like make this happen and like be even more hands off. Me and my good friend Rachel Schwartz, which is in here, we and another friend of ours, Ryan Love, actually host a bi-weekly integrator meetup,
Cool.
virtual meetup. And we keep it to an hour because we can go forever. Okay.
Yeah.
And we'd be off till like whenever. So we have decided to keep it at an hour, but that's where we get on and, discuss with you, whether it's helping you to develop a workflow. How do you manage leads? What are leads? What's that process? How do you talk to your integrators? What's the workflow? How do you develop those? How do you even get paid from, being an integrator, things like that. So in the side chat there, you guys will see if you text integrator to 770-802-1100 and fill out that form. We keep you updated with the links and the times and everything and the topics that's going on. So you guys are more than welcome to come on board. Come check it out. It is open to everybody. And a lot of times we have an upcoming topic is how do integrators and visionaries work together? So with that, I'm bringing on a couple of my visionaries that I actually work with, as well as other people are bringing on how they work with.
Aaron, Tim, you're on with Chris Podkowa. What's your question?
Yeah, thanks for having me on. Yeah, you kind of touched on it real quick. Answering Mark's question is, do you find that investors have more than one system in place, or do they just tweak one big system for what they do?
Again, it varies. What is your budget? So I've very simply, when I work with people, they're like, hey, can we make it do this? Yes. Not in this system. It's going to cost more because you're going to have to get Zapier. You're going to have to pay for this other system. You're going to have to pay for this other stuff. Or I can do it in here, but it's going to be a little bit of a longer process, but it can still stay in-house. Do you got the money? No. Okay, well then we got to go this way. I can still make it happen. It's just a matter of what you want to do, because $50 here, $50 here, $50 here, $50 here, $50 here, you're up to $300, $400, $500 just on systems alone. Or do you want one that you can, that might be a little more complex, but it's also cheaper, but you got to take care of it a little bit more. Again, depending upon your play. Or do you want something that doesn't really have much in the way of automations? Or do you want something that you can have highly customizable so you can make it do whatever it is that you want?
So, Chris, let me ask you, when someone's new and they're growing with their business, what's the process by which they learn how much involved they are, or if they have to get something more? Is that just interacting with who their integrator is?
So it's going to be dependent upon, do you want to be that, big like Pace or Than or, Brent Daniels or Jamil, do you want to be that big? Well, then you're going to have make sure that your processes and system is more solid, which means that you probably would have to spend more money. Now, can you still go, can you still go get bricks with a, 1980 Datsun, pickup truck? Yes. Or can you still do the same thing with a brand new 2024 Dodge Dually diesel with the trailer? Yeah, you're still doing the same thing, but how much are you really doing? Do you want to do that much and run a construction business, or do you just want to do like as a side job and just, keep it simple?
Aaron, does that kind of answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you so much, Aaron. Thanks for joining us today. So, Chris, as we wrap up talking about systems, we have on the call today someone who we both know, a good friend of both of ours, who is an absolutely amazing young lady. Um, Rachel Swartz, I want to bring her on because I know you guys are working together, and I'm sure she's got some tips, suggestions, gold nuggets to share. And here she is. Rachel, hey, welcome to the call. Rachel, how are you?
Hi, JJ. I am good. Thanks,
Always
Chris.
good to
Thank
see
you guys for
you.
having me.
Hey, and as Chris was just mentioning a second ago, it's your birthday yesterday.
Thanks, JJ.
Happy belated birthday to you.
Happy birthday.
You.
So, we had you on before speaking on Canva and that aspect of your experience, but since I've known you, you've just exploded through real estate with your networking, building relationships, creating opportunities for yourself. You've been outstanding. I've watched you grow, and I wanted to say congratulations on everything you've done. Um, but I guess you and Chris are working together somewhat on the systems now. Is that correct?
Yes, and thank you, JJ. It's been like a long journey, like Chris says. Like real estate is not easy. It took a little bit to kind of find like my niche and what I wanted to honestly do and what I like to do and what I didn't like to do, and outsource everything that I did not like to do. So yes, I'm an integrator, but sometimes I don't always have the time to do the back end systems with everything that I'm doing with my team. So yeah, Chris and I teamed up. We do integrator Zooms, and it's open to anyone, and just kind of nice to see what everyone is doing because everyone's business is different. So everyone's going to have different systems. And I think it's important for us to all get together in collaboration and see what everyone's doing. And it helps everyone because Chris said in the beginning, oh, Chris, you're doing that, but I'm not. So let me implement that, and that's going to help my business and vice versa. So we always like help each other. And also, technology and systems are constantly changing. So it's always nice to collaborate with people and stay up to date with the space with each other. So yes, we have like those Zooms that we help people and we work like together. So it's been a pretty awesome experience.
Now, let me ask you guys a question. I was at a sub two meetup with Pace yesterday. We had about 300 people, 400 people there yesterday. And some young man came up to me and mentioned he's looking for an integrator, but had to be local. Do integrators need to be local? They don't need to be right in your very own neighborhood, right?
No, they don't. Does it make it maybe slightly easier for your team depending on that visionary person if they're not too tech savvy? Yes, it can make it easier, I'm not gonna lie. However, it's not necessary. So you don't have to be like in the same spot. Like obviously my team is in Denver, I'm in the Springs. So I'm local but not local with each other. It's like an hour or so like drive. But I can go to the office maybe like once a week. And so you can say 50-50, we're not too local and we make it work just fine.
Yeah, I got one last question for you guys on integrators, and so proud of both of you. And what's most important is we've all sat down and had an iced tea, Coca-Cola, been able to sit socially and mingle and mix. So it's really nice to catch up with both of you. Um, Integrators are all over the country. You guys are working together with yourselves, but do integrators talk to other integrators, and do they share and help one another even though they don't work long term together?
Yes.
Absolutely.
And that's honestly why we created the integrator Zoom, because Chris and I would connect with each other and then add like a few other sub two students. And then we're like, this would be beneficial to help other integrators because we all should be talking. It's like, Pace, a lot of you are sub two students, but really your network, and JJ, you say this all the time, your network is everything. So you need to connect with people, but it's also important to connect with like-minded people like yourselves too. So I'm an integrator. I want to connect more with other integrators, whereas my visionary partners are going to connect more with visionary partners, and that just helps the whole team in general.
Yeah. No, and I think it's beneficial to know what you two are doing because I'm always meeting people that need integrators so I can send them your way, or if I meet new integrators to connect people. And I'll say, whatever you guys are doing with your podcast, feel free to put those on my group and market that to other integrators amongst the, 4 or 5 thousand people in my group right now. Okay, well, Rachel, I want to thank you for coming on. It's always good to see you. And I guess you have some pretty good snow going on in Colorado right now, huh?
We do. That's why I didn't get to go to my Denver meetup because we got about 6 inches of snow. I'm supposed to be at that meetup like right now. But I am not. So I'm gonna have some good snowboarding on Monday. Pretty excited about that.
There you go. There you go. Hey, Rachel, always good to see you. Let's stay in touch and catch up soon.
Sounds good. Thank you, JJ.
Thank you so much. So, Pod, brother, I got 2 last questions for you. If folks want to reach out to you, what's the best way? Is it your MySpace, your TikTok, your Instagram, your LinkedIn? What's the best way for people to reach you if they've got questions? Or do you have a website that you prefer people to reach out to?
In reality, text message.
Okay.
Like I particularly love that there better. I suck on the Instagram side and the TikTok and all that stuff. Now I do have all that stuff, but it's like if somebody sends me an email, I always tell everyone, if you're sending me an email and I know you and JJ, you're sending me an email, shoot me a text that you just sent that so I know to go look for it.
Yeah.
Because otherwise it just gets lost in with everything else. And
Oh,
people, oh, I sent you. It's
You're
like,
not kidding. I probably, if you're anything
Yeah.
like me, brother, I got like thousands of emails. I mean,
oh, dude, I'm at 8,000 right now, unopened.
I thought I would never get there. I was talking to Vina Jetty one day. She says, I've got, 7,000. I've got like 6,500 unopened emails. I tell anyone if you're sending me something, please let me know it's there so I can go look for it because you just get junk piles up. Hey man, it's been a pleasure having you on. I got one last question. My group's a networking group. I talk about the importance of it all the time, and I know sometimes I become a talking head. But for yourself, someone who's been in this game for quite a while, you've become very successful. You're highly respected in the community. There are multiple education platforms teaching various aspects of real estate education, and each education community has their own Facebook page for their student body, for their community. Um, each community, such as Sub2, has inexperienced investors coming every day and experienced investors coming every day. Very frequently, some of them are utilizing now social media for the first time. Often they're just joining the Facebook page because they're part of the education platform. What is the importance of social media and networking to the success of the business for the people that are coming to this platform? And what's the importance of possibly joining a group like mine to the success of someone's business?
All right. So, who remembers the yellow pages? Who remembers making ads in the newspaper? Who got the Sunday and daily paper sent to them? Right?
Oh, you are dating.
That is far done and gone now.
Yeah.
So yes, social media is now the new way of doing that. To find out who you are, it's not a matter of, word of mouth, but like all anyone's got to do now is just look you up on social media. So, but in turn, also to be known, you also got to be on social media. So it's a necessary evil, right? Because you have to be on there to be visible, to be seen, to promote your products, to promote your service, to meet others that, I meet JJ and, he says, hey, Pod, I know someone that needs a system, right? Or he knows that someone that needs an integrator. So he's going to reach out to me because I'm that guy that he knows and he trusts that he would, totally trust me with that person to go and do that to help him out or at least guide him in the right direction. Now, if I was completely invisible, nobody else would be doing that.
Yeah.
JJ probably wouldn't even be doing that. So yes, it is very imperative to be on there and be seen, and it doesn't matter, just be there. But
there's a couple things I say frequently is that there's an old saying in real estate business in general. Business it's all about who you know. It's all about who you know. Well, I think nowadays with social media, it's about who knows you.
Yes.
You don't market your business, you market yourself. People do business with people that they know, like, and trust. So, if they don't like you, they're not going to trust you. But if they don't know you, they can't like you. If you're not visible, they're not going to know who you are. So it's about being visible. It's about marketing yourself. It's about leveraging social media to let people know that you're out there so that ideally through networking, you build your brand. Through networking, you build visibility. And through that visibility, you build opportunity. So I just want to kind of add on in there.
Yeah. I want to add one more just to exactly like
Go
what
ahead,
you're talking about
Go
there.
ahead.
For all these investors and everyone that's coming in nowadays, and Rashana, you and me had a good conversation about this too, is just like JJ was talking about, being visible, being who knows you, like-minded, likable, this and that and everything. You got to then again think about your type of marketing itself, because if you're doing text messaging, is there any feeling behind there? No, that's just like getting handed flyers as you're walking down the street and like you don't even really care because they don't pertain to you, right? So that's like doing that. But if somebody stops you and actually starts talking to you and starts having that conversation, just maybe about whatever was on the flyer, do you think you would then be more inclined to possibly receive that openly and show a genuine, at least, interest into that? Yeah. So now again, this is where being an investor is not just about sending out all those mailers, going out and knocking on all those doors, just hitting everybody up. No, it's now about the type of conversations that you can have, that personal perseverance.
That's key.
So like what I tell people right now is that like it's not a matter of sending out 5,000 text messages. Get on that phone. Don't worry, and I'll leave you guys with this. Do not have 300 phone calls a day. Have 50 quality conversations, because that's what you got to do. Those 50 quality conversations are going to land you more deals than making those 300 calls. And the reason why I say that is because too many people get into it and go, I'm making my calls. I'm making those calls. I'm spending 5 hours a day making 300 calls, whatever. It doesn't matter. You have to have the quality. Are you having quality conversations?
Exactly.
That's the big thing. That's going to land you more deals.
Chris, I want to thank you for coming on today, brother. You brought a lot of gold nuggets. If you guys are watching on YouTube right now, I'd like you to please like Chris's video. Please put some comments down there in the comment section about what your takeaways were, what you liked, how we can improve what we're doing here to bring you a better product every single week. Again, if you want to get a hold of Chris, just get a hold of him. Text him at 602-899-4POD, P-O-D. If you want to get a hold of me, just go to my website, jjazizian.com, click the register now button, the pulsating little button, and register for my group and jump on in here and join us on these calls. Look for more great speakers coming up on Flip Side Up with JJ. And if you're on the call right now, don't go away. We're going to go to some breakout rooms, do some live networking. And Chris, for those that are on the call or watching on YouTube, we'll see them out there in social media land, right?
Yeah, you guys need anything, hit me up. I am on Facebook, Messenger, all that good stuff. TikTok, both platforms. Podimation, my CRM system. Chris Podkowa on Facebook, MySpace. Even if you got a pager, I'll even get you on that too. So, or the old school brick phones. Yeah, let's go that way too.
Hey guys,
but yeah,
thanks for joining us. Thank you so much.